Hello future tech leaders, I'm Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
All conform to a universal behavior in terms of like a password. Everybody has a password policy that they have to use to create their passwords. That would be one of the requirements. Policy of you know the amount, the duration of the access. Maybe? Not exactly. Basically, if you're going to enforce any policies in Sailpoint Identity IQ, basically it will check all the identities for a certain condition. As I said, policy is all about rules and conditions, right? In Sailpoint, if you're going to enforce any security policies, that policies will check all the identities for certain conditions which are unwanted. Maybe let's say we are having a toxic combination access. If user is having that conflicting access or toxic combination access, you can consider that user as a dangerous. It could lead to dangerous situation. For example, let's say we have a set of entitlement to a role. It should not be combined to a single identity. Maybe I will write it directly, or else I will get the keynotes. Just give me a minute. Let's say we have two rules, entitlement A and entitlement B. Entitlement A will allow all the users to apply leave. And entitlement B will allow the user to approve lead, which means normal users are supposed to have entitlement A. On the other end, their manager should have entitlement B, that user can apply and their manager can approve. That's the expected behavior. If user is going to have, we have one user, single identity, who is having these two toxic combination access, such as entitlement B and entitlement B. We can consider the situation as a high risk one because the user can submit the lead himself and they can approve also. This is what toxic combination, or you can consider as a conflicting access. Whenever user is going to violate these policies, we can prevent this condition using policies. If any user is going to violate this policy, violation will be triggered. When it comes to policies, we have two types of policies. One is S4D policy. Other one is generic policy. Can somebody answer what is S4D policy? Segregation of duties. Is it segregation or separation? It could be either, but we call it segregation of duties. It's literally the separation of duties. The concept of S4D, separation of duties, means people should not have conflicting access. All their access should be organized in a way which can protect all the company assets. Basically, with the help of S4D, we can limit user involvement in the important process in the target application, that we can protect our organization data and we can ensure individuals gaining the excess access. We can prevent from that also. That's what S4D separation of duties. When it comes to S4D, we have four types of policy. On the other end, we have generic policy. We have three types of policy. Comes under generic policy. We talk about entitlement here and be right. Similarly, let's say we have a role 1. Role 1 will ensure user can prepare all the payment activity. Role 2 will allow the user to approve the payments. Both are conflicting right. Payment preparation and payment approval. You can consider these as a conflicting value, conflicting role, conflicting access. The same user should not have that spot S4D. Is that make sense? What is policy now? Any question? Can you just explain it once? S4D. S4 is nothing. It's a separation of duty. Basically, S4D will ensure users should not have toxic combination access. Let's consider in the policy we define entitlement A and entitlement B is a toxic combination. The same identity, same user cannot have both items at the same time. That's what S4D is. Not only for entitlement, it could be applicable same for role also. Role, business role, IT role for everything. Is it clear? Thank you. Whether the system itself will make sure that either one is allowed because they are conflicting or contradicting roles. Or is it possible that system can grant both of them? It's up to the approver and then track what the user is doing. That comes under evaluation. We didn't talk about evaluation yet. You are asking, right? Let's say, as an end user, I'm trying to request both toxic combination access. How Sailfund should react on that? Sailfund should allow with violation that their manager can take the decision. Right. Sailfund should not allow itself. It should prevent directly. It should cancel the request. Or maybe Sailfund should provide the option to remove any one of the conflicting access while submitting the request. This comes under evaluation. Preventative evaluation. When it comes to deductive, which means user already is having the toxic combination access. In such scenarios, Sailfund can deduct. Today, we are going to learn how to create what. First of all, you understood what is policy. Then we'll talk about how to create these policies. Then how to evaluate them. When it comes to evaluation, we have two types of evaluation. Preventative policy evaluation, detective policy evaluation. We can call it as a hot stop policy, stop policy, something like that. You ready? If yes, then I'll demonstrate how to create policies or not. Each one of you, I hope you guys are clear. If you didn't understand, feel free to ask. I'll explain. Let's say in my system, I'm having two business roles, Prism Manager and Prism Super. Prism Manager. This business role will ensure user will get all the manager level activities. And Prism Super is a business role which allows the user to have admin level activities. Just a moment. Now the same two business role, or you can consider it as an entitlement user should not have at the same time. To fulfill that requirement, I'm going to define one policy. First of all, we have to ensure the role is available or entitlement is available in the system Sailpoint application. Just go to roles. And we can ensure Prism Manager and Super. Both are toxic combination access. Prism Manager business role we are having. Similarly, we are having Prism Super business role also. Now it's time to create policies. Go to Setup Policies. Click on New Policy. Here you can find total. We are having 7 policies. Out of 7, 4 policies are SOD. Role SOD, Entitlement SOD, Effective Entitlement SOD, and Advanced Policy. These 4 items are SOD policies. Then remaining 3 items: Account Policy, Risk Policy, Activity Policy. It's a generic policy. Let's say if the given item, whenever we need to define policies, the given item will be provided by the business team. The list of entitlement role will be provided by them. According to the type of item, if it is entitlement, then you have to pick entitlement as role. If it is role, then you have to pick role as SOD. If it is target permission, then you have to pick effective entitlement as role. Let's say if the requirements is, we have a user. We should not allow the user to submit request or maybe behalf of user. Nobody should be able to submit request before users joining them. If you came across this requirement or any other customer requirement, we have to rely on advanced policy. These 4 policies comes under SOD separation of QT. Then we are having generic policy. This is account policy, risk policy, activity policy. I will talk about that. Now I am going to consider these 2 items as a role. I will create role SOD policy. Click on New Policy. Go to Role Set. Here we can define the policy. From name till alerts, you can consider these fields as a standard property of the policy. The same standard property will be applicable irrespective of generic or SOD policy. For all 7 policies will have the same standard properties, which means the field. I am going to name it as PISM policy. I am going to name it as PISM policy super and manager. The policy owner can act as a violation owner. Then we can have a description. The purpose of creating this policy and what will be the expected outcome. How to resolve, how to handle this scenario if somebody is going to violate. We should have a clear description about the policy that it can help all the business people to understand. Because when user is going to submit request, they will go through the policy name, policy description, everything. If user is violating the policy, we have to ensure it should be crisp and clear. Then Sailpoint is providing the functionality out of the box functionality. If your client doesn't satisfy with the functionality, if they are looking for any additional configuration from process-wise, then we can rely on these 2 fields. We can write a rule and workflow to change, to implement some customization. And we have state clearly indicates the policy status, whether it's active or inactive. Always remember whenever user is going to submit request, you can consider it's a requested item. It could be a role. It could be entitlement right. These requested item will be validated against only active policies. You have to ensure policy status should be active always. Then send alerts. Whenever user is going to violate these policies, if you want to send initial notification email to violation owner, we can define from here. Then in the yesterday, also we discussed that in the certification chapter. After how many days we made an email needs to be sent. After sending couple of reminders, we need to escalate the email. Who can act as an escalation owner? And what will be the escalation? Email body, email subject, Everything we can defend from here. Or you don't want to send reminders directly. Would you write a script? You can do it from here. For each and every policy violation, if you want to open a work item, you can enable this checkbox. Along with that, if you would like to add any additional risk in, you can add it from here. That's it. The same standard properties will be applicable for all type of policies. Now, if you have any question, you can ask. It's quite pretty simple. You can ask now. Any question? I'll take it as no. Now one policy can have multiple policy rules. Now I'm going to create a new policy rule where I'm going to define all the set of business role items. But before that, we will provide the summary of the policy rule. I'm going to name it as business role because one policy can have many policy rules. Policy rule name will be business role. You can have the description also. Then who is going to act as a violation owner for these policies? I'm going to define manager and it should be active. We have to educate the business people request or all the end user. Whenever user is going to request by selecting these two conflicting access. Say one should provide some correction advice. I'm going to add some statement here. Finally, remove any one of the conflicting access, something like that. Here you could see any of these role is going to be conflicting with any of these roles, which means user can request access either from left side or right side. Here and there, it's not possible. This is what it means. Now I'm going to select Prism Manager from one side. On the other side, I'm going to select Prism Super. Prism Manager and Super right. That's it. Click Done. Policy will be created. If you would like to add more rules, we can clean. This time I'm going to create a role. Again, manager will be the violation owner. We can have the correction advice. I'm going to select Prism Manager. I can do as well as we can have Prism Super. That's it. If you want to add more items, business tools, you can add it from here. We don't have any limitation. That's it. Now we created one policy and we added two policy rules, but we didn't save this policy. First, you have to ensure policy needs to be seen and policy status is active, always removable. If it is inactive, that requested item cannot be validated against the active-inactive policy. Policy has to be active. All this. Any question? Rakesh, you have just selected 2 from the drop-down. Which means if I select anything which you have not selected from the drop-down, even though it's from the left and right, it's still because there is no policy for other LOVs. LOVs you have defined only for the 2 from both sides. List of values. X. Apart from these rules, user can't request directly. There won't be any violation will be triggered. Only for this Prism Manager, business role and IT role. And the same combination can be from the left side itself. Let's say from the left side itself. It can be any way. There is no restriction limitation. Right. The combination can be in any way, right and left, or within the left, or within the same. And just to clarify Akash, I can create any number of policies, right? based on the combination. Whatever, I assume that that's not correct. If I'm not wrong, Sailpoint by default, it will allow you to create 500 policies. See, from here also, you can request any rules. There is no limit. If you get a list of rules, then you can create policies using roles OD. If you get list of entitlement, then you have to rely on entitlement OD policies. When it comes to entitlement OD, the same standard property, then click on New Root Policy rule. This time, instead of left side, right side, we are having first entitlement set, second entitlement set. Correct. From here, you can select the application. You can add the entitlement from the respective of the user, can have every administrator access. This or that, either from first entitlement set or else second entitlement. Maybe if you want to add more entitlement from the first entitlement set itself. User can have either admin OU access or else just entitlement access because your operation is OR. I think this is what you are looking for. Correct. Can you show the OR operation? What are the values there? OR. That's it. Maybe if you want to group them together, these two entitlements, you can do it. You can make them, you can make a group. And again you have an operation. Right. Could be under operation or operation. That's it. We can avail these two functionalities. What then? What is effective entitlement as well? Go to Setup Policies. Go to Effective Entitlement SOD Policy. Can someone quickly figure it out? What is the difference between this is effective entitlement, this is entitlement? What is the difference between them? Add target permission. In the effective entitlement SOD policy, we will have target permission. Let's say you got a permission from any application. If you want to defend policy for those target permissions, then you have to use effective entitlement SOD policy. That's it. Or else we won't use this in real time. These three are SOD policies. The fourth item is advanced policy. I have explained one requirement, right? Let's say we should not allow the user new joining to submit request before they are joining. In such scenarios, we can use this advanced rule by writing a rule. Whenever the rule is going to satisfy this policy, violation will be triggered. This is going to be the fourth policy called advanced policy. That's it. When it comes to generate policies, for whatever you've explained, all of them are config only. There is no changes that is required. It's out of the box, which is correct. It's out of the box policies. Then we are having generic policies. If I'm not wrong, we talk about activity, right? If you want to define this activity policy, then in the respective application, it could be any application. In the respective application activity, data source needs to be enabled. That's the thumb rule. And none of the application team will allow you to enable this activity data source because they won't provide the logs from. They won't provide logs to Sailpoint. They won't allow Sailpoint to access all of their logs that we can monitor all the user activities. It's an extra impossible. I never seen this activity data source has been implemented in real time. If activity data source has been enabled, you can implement some limitation on the user activity in the target of using this activity policy. But I never configured in real time. We can skip. Apart from that, we are having risk policy. Risk policy, it's straight away easy. The same standard property of the policy from name to send alerts. Then here we don't have policy rule, we are having policy attribute. Whenever user threshold level is going to reach beyond this level, then violation automatically will be treated. This is what it means, 600 and 100. Because every user will have identity risk identity score. This risk score, whenever the threshold level is going to be reached, beyond that level, violation automatically will get done. This is what it means. Then the last policy is account policy. What is that account policy? Again, same standard property. We have only one policy rule. Using this policy rule, we can determine if one user is having multiple applications on the same application. Violation will be triggered. User should not have multiple applications on the target. If user is having, then violation will be triggered because of this policy. That's the different type of policies what we have in sync. If you guys are, then we can talk about evaluation. Rakesh, regarding the entitlements OD policy. Let's say I have an application which has around 300 entitlements, out of which 50 has conflict, like which will attract violation. I have to manually add all those 50 entitlements. One by one, you have to add. That's 2 manual drives. Correct. You have to add everything manually. Oh my. Or else, if you are a Sailpoint expert, then policies can be created from the backend. We have a page also. Let me show you. Today we created a policy called Prism Policy Super Manager, right? Here we are having this manager completely accessible with the Prism Manager and children user. Left bundle, right bundle. Is that right? From line number 27 to 29 is left bundle between the website. Right bundle means right side. Bundle is rows already. You can have one by one. You can prepare a list of 300 entitlement in this format easily. And you can paste it and copy paste it over here. Copy paste it over here. Anyway, that's a good question. You can do something. Got. Thank you, Itish. We talk about policy creation. Now it's time to talk about evaluation. When it comes to evaluation, we have two types of evaluation. One is preventative, which means if user is going to submit request by selecting these conflicting access, how Sailpoint should react on that. That comes under preventative. Whether when request or item causing violation, Sailpoint should not trigger any violation, which means none. Continue means Sailpoint will allow the user to submit request with violation that their manager will come to know. Fail means Sailpoint will cancel the entire access request if any violation found. Interactive means Sailpoint will allow the opportunity to the requester to remove any one of the conflicting access. These are the 4 approaches what we have in real time. When it comes to deductive, if any user is having this proxy combination, policy violation automatically will be deducted by executing the same. I hope you guys are clear. That's it. Now, already we defined the policy. I will go ahead and I will submit the access request. We select Tourism Super and Tourism Manager. Business role is set. Toxic combination. Whenever user is going to submit access request, you know the workflow will be called. And the workflow name is LCMEM provisioning workflow. Right. In this workflow, we have a variable called policy scheme. We are having 4 values, non-continue interactive frame. Let's start with none. Does that make sense? What I'm doing now? This is about hard stop and policy. The first approach, we are going to set it as none and I will go ahead and submit the request. Go to Manage User Access. Let me select one user and let's say Brian. I am going to request conflicting access for Tourism Manager and Super. With next, hit the Submit button. Now we define policy scheme as a none. Which means if request an item causing violation, also Sailpoint won't trigger anything. Now let me submit access. You could see policy scheme is none. And we define policy by adding toxic combination of Tourism Manager and Tourism Super. I'm going to submit request for brand. By selecting the same toxic combination access, there's a manager and super. We all have to select other user. Maybe the access has been given already. David Anderson. Prism Manager and Prism Super. Next, hit the Submit button. Now you could see, request has been submitted successfully. Now I'm going to open the access request and it's full. Here you could see none of the violation found. Access has been granted. Since in my system I have disabled the approval, directly access has been provisioned. You cannot find policy violation in you. Right. Now I'm going to change it from none to continue. But this time I'm going to enable one level of approval at least. Manager level of approval. That I can show you the manager approval work. We can utilize this user for deductive approach, deductive policy value. Now I'm going to submit one more access request. Present here. By selecting the same conflicting answers. Prism Manager and Super. Click Next, hit the Submit button. This time also, Sailpoint will allow the user to submit request. But it will throw now. It will show some violation. And last time user submitted a request, you cannot find any violation. But this time policy violation deducted. By the time now, Cynthia's manager would have received the approval work item. Go to Item tab. I could see Manager approval first. Cynthia's manager Jennifer. When Jennifer is going to open this manager approval work item, Jennifer could see violation found for one policy rule, other policy rule. Correct. And since Jennifer can understand this policy, description, correction, advice, everything. And as a manager, Jennifer can approve one item, deny one item. Does that make sense? The second approach. I'm going to run the third scenario. The same policy scheme variable from continue to fail. First none, second continue, third fail. Now I will cancel the existing access request for Cynthia because it's not required. I'm going to submit access request once again for the same user. Cynthia, I will submit it. Here is a manager and super. Hit the submit button. C failed due to policy violation, which means Sailpoint didn't allow the user to complete or submit the access request itself. The request itself got terminated. Post. Does that make sense? Request at item causing violation. Request is not submitted. I'm going to submit the access request. Third approach. Fourth approach is going to be interactive. Interactive means Sailpoint will provide opportunity to the user to remove any one of the accesses. Pay to interact. I'm going to submit the access request. 1 second for Cynthia. Prism Manager and Super. Click Submit, right? See, this time Sailpoint is providing an opportunity to the user requester to remove any one of the accesses. Now the Submit button is cleared out. The requester cannot submit request unless they are going to remove any one of them. The moment requester is going to click on this, correction, advice and control will be there. Requester can go through this and they can understand about the policy issue and all. Obviously, they will remove any one of the accesses that submit button can be active. And now user can submit request. Does that make sense? The third scenario. There is no the four scenarios. There is no override, is it? Is it rakish? Once it's done, it's done. There cannot be any exceptions. Overrides means can you elaborate? No, where I allow both access to be given for a specific reason. I'll come to the scenario later. Now let's say, and rakish. This error messages are OTB, or we can make it a more customized one that it will be more user-friendly. You can do that. You can add more verbiage, more statements that people can understand, right? Business people, you can do that. For a demonstration purpose, I have couple of items, but in real time it will be lengthy of statement and all. Got the same scenario, but Sailpoint does not allow the user to submit access request with both roles right. Let's say there are some unfortunate situation, where user need both role access. How we are supposed to allow the user? Any idea? Let me cancel the request. Maybe it's a request. In Sailpoint we have request one after the other. What would happen now? In this case, no. In this configuration itself, since I requested both of them. If I do one after the other, when I do the second, one violation will be triggered. Violation will be triggered, right? It will be triggered because already you are having this access. Correct. Second time you are trying to request for Prism Manager. Then Sailpoint knows, right? Already user is having access. Now trying to request for another role. All the three scenarios except for the first one. Maybe because there is nothing it will go through, but in all of the three scenarios it will stop somewhere. Correct. Continue, fail and interactive. Right? Which approach would you prefer to implement in real time? Interactive? Obviously, it's going to be interactive when it comes to real-time indexes. Now, let's demonstrate that scenario as well. We were talking about there are some unfortunate situations we should allow the user to submit request with violation. In such scenarios, we have a variable called allow request with violation. This variable value needs to be changed from false to true. And whenever user is going to submit request with violation, they should provide valid business justification also. The business justification will be managed by this require violation to review comments. Basically, we have to enable two more variables. And I did it. Now I'm going to submit one more access request for another user. I'm going to submit for 30s. If we get a message, this is PSMP. What is the difference between previous scenario and this scenario? Maybe the second one will go for additional approval. Here we are having this submit with violation button, right? But in the previous scenario, we did not have that button. This submit with violation button appeared because of this. Allow request with violation variable from line number 197 to 2. This variable brought this button. And if you are going to hit this button, dialog box will appear. Comments required. We have to provide business justification. That dialog box appeared because of this variable. And it is out of the box functionality. Now user can submit request. Right? And now it will be looking for manager approval. Patricia, go to work item. Manager knows the situation. Obviously, manager will come to no violation found, but manager will approve both because there is a valid business justification. Correct. What is the role of violation owner over here, Rakesh? Because he is not in the picture at all far. Yes. Far we are. I am showing about the preventative one, right? Violation owner will come in the detective scenario. That is all about preventative. And as we already discussed in real time, we will implement interactive with two more variables. Allow request with violation, require violation. Two more additional variables will be enabled. Now let's talk about detective. Detective means today we submitted a request for one user, David Anderson. David Anderson already is having Prism Manager and Super role, which means David is already having toxic combination access. Is that right? Yes or no? How Sailpoint is going to detect this? Prism, Super Prism Manager. How Sailpoint is going to detect? Go to Policy tab, No Policy Violation Form. Basically, if you want to detect policy violation for all the users, it's pretty simple process. If you want to detect this, just you have to execute the task. But in real time, automatically these tasks will be executed. The task name is Check Active Policies. Just you have to execute this task. It will ensure all the identities will be scanned. If any user is violating the same policy, or if any user is violating the policy, policy violation will be driven. No, sorry, Rakesh, it is still executing. Could you tell what you today? You defined the policy and you want to retrospectively see how many staffs have or how many users have been impacted because of the new violation which has been introduced today. Correct. Just the access. It's not that I have done anything. No action. The fact that I have access. Already you are having toxic combination access. It is only reporting that I have, but it doesn't mean that I have done something. Already you are having toxic combination access and this task will notify the policy violation owner. And violation owner will receive the work item and they will take act. They will act on that. It will work. If you have any questions, you can also answer your question. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's refreshing all the identities. Now it's 140th identity. Obviously, by the time now, policy violation would have been updated here. Let's go ahead and refresh this user. Here you could see two policy violation triggered. One is for IT role policy role. Other one is for business role policy. We define policy and this policy is having two policy rules. And this task clearly indicates 3 policy violation has been found. 2 for David Anderson, 1 for another. Policy violation is there. Now you can navigate to my work policy violation. If you are the policy violation owner, who is this policy violation owner in this scenario? John Williams. We submitted request for David Anderson and David Anderson manager is John Williams. John Williams is the manager and we define in the policy right manager will act as a policy violation. Now John Williams can provide his approval decision. If he is going to allow both access, until what time he is going to allow. If he is going to revoke, then which access is going to be. You can take decision from here. You can take decision from here, from this policy violation tab. Or let me log in as a manager. You will log in as John Williams. Is it Rakesh? I will log in. Now I log in as a John Williams. As I said, I can access this policy violation from here. That I can provide my approval decision. Collect. Or I can navigate to my work item. Obviously, work item will be good. Policy violation, work item for David Anderson. Now as a policy violation owner, I will go through policy description. If your policy description is existed present, then I can easily review it. I can understand about this policy nature. Then we are having to who is the violation owner policy rule. They everything. Then click on go to violation. From here, we can take a decision. Allow means until what time we are going to allow. With justification. If you are going to revoke, then which role we are going to revoke? I want to revoke manager ITO. Prism manager ITO. Click revoke. That is it. We receive one more work item. Because 2 policy rules were there. 2 work item would have was generated. Now I am going to revoke Prism Manager business rule. This Prism Manager correct violation. There is a manager needs to be removed. That is it. As a policy rule, the policy violation owner, I provided my decision. You can confirm it from this policy violation tab. Both item has been revoked. Now go to user profile. When we checked last time, user had both entire roles. Now Prism Manager IT, both has been revoked. You can confirm the same via History tab. John William took a decision to remove these business rule access because of this policy. Correct. But even though policy violation will be there, how to remove this policy violation from user profile? You have to execute the task 1 second. Check active policy task. It will ensure. Now only one violation found. Not for a David analyst. Just go ahead and refresh. No policy violation. Because violation owner already took a decision. That's it guys. Had you approved with the timeline? How that would be? What would be the engine? Had you approved? What would have happened with the date? After that, access will be removed automatically. We already implemented sunset sunrise. After the date, automatically one of them will go. Right, whichever. Correct. Maybe here you can try. I have to log in as a owner. I can try. You can allow. But which one? Which one? Which one are you allowing? How do you select that? You say, we are allowing, right? Correct. After that, after the date, which one will lapse? Which one will get revoked? Maybe again violation will be triggered. Just a minute. Let's demonstrate this scenario as well. Let me log in as this Russell Spencer. This time I'm going to allow this work item. Allow violation means it should be expired on December. Allow violation. Now go to policy violation. We allowed this access right. Allow until December 7. Now we'll go to the user profile. Now I'm going to run the time machine. You guys are remember, right? How to enable this time machine concepts and all. Did we talk about this time machine or not? I think that was some UI conflict settings and all we have to change. System property. We talk about the sunset. Let's under a stamp. I'm going to enable the stamp machine now. Go to system configuration. And we have to enable entry key equals value equals value equals. Let's say now the time is. I'm going to advance 2 days. Now the time is December 8. Just go ahead and refresh. It's not getting. It's allowed, right? Now I will execute the task once again. Check active policy task. Because this task will execute on a daily basis. I think maybe a violation will be triggered. It will be assigned to the user. Policy violation owner. If I'm not wrong. One more violation fault. Now just go ahead and refresh. My work item. I will check on this. No worries, no worries, no worries. Right. But tell me how this? At least that the policy violation should be triggered. But tell me how this time mission is useful, Rekash, in the real scenario, production scenario. Thank you. Now we define right on 7th of December. Correct, tomorrow. The access needs to be removed. If you want to check, we cannot wait for next 24 hours to validate that. Immediately, I can advance the time and I can check. If predominantly for testing, it will be very useful. Testing purpose only. Very helpful for developers. Good. You can also go backward, is it or? You cannot go back. We can only advance the time. We cannot go back. We can understand. That's all about policies. Any question, guys? Here, you need to understand what is policy. What type of policy we have in Sailfund. If user is going to violate, then what type of evaluation can be determined? And what type of evaluation we have? Hot stop policy, soft stop policy. You have to practice something from your left. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.